y'all can hear me okay. I have never done a live stream before, and to be completely honest with y'all, I had a topic outlined for today that I wanted to discuss and shoot a video for, but honestly, y'all, I'm tired, and the thought of shooting and uploading a video is a little bit overwhelming for me right now. So I figured instead of making a video like I usually do, then I would figure out how the live function worked on YouTube, since I've never done this before. I did not announce this anywhere, so I hope that people will make their way into the live stream. If you're here and you can hear me all right, let me know down below. Again, I am only on my phone for YouTube, so, oh, hey, Sherry K. I may not see every comment since I'm just doing this from my phone. So, yeah, the topic I wanted to discuss for today was the FIRE movement, and is it dead or not? I have been seeing some podcasts as well as some other YouTubers out there discussing this topic, and it made me go and search Google to see if I could find some articles talking about whether or not the FIRE movement was dead and whether or not it would survive this market downturn that we're in right now. And I was surprised that I did see a couple articles really kind of just bashing the FIRE movement. And in my opinion, I think that this market downturn is an opportunity for people who are in the FIRE movement. Now, for the video I wanted to make, I wanted to break it down into three groups of people within the FIRE movement. People like myself who are in the wealth building stage of being in the FIRE movement, and people who were perhaps getting ready to make the leap to jump into early retirement, and then people who are already early retired. So I think these are three distinct groups of people within the FIRE movement, and they are all going to have their own challenges when it comes to where they're at in their own financial independence journey. So I could see where some of these articles may have one iota of truth when it comes to people who maybe were getting ready to make that leap into early retirement, and then this market crash happened. But honestly, though, if you try to keep a positive mindset about it, I think that this could potentially be a good thing for people who are in that camp. Because if you were getting ready to early retire and then all of this crazy stuff happened with the markets and the virus going around, I think that that gives you an opportunity to really take a look at your strategy and reevaluate whether or not you would have been able to handle such a huge downturn in your portfolio. I think it gives that group of people a chance to maybe reevaluate their risk tolerance and their asset allocations within their portfolio and determine whether or not they were really ready to make that leap into early retirement. So while there's the people in that group are probably delaying their early retirement, I know I would if I was in that situation. I would wait for this market to go back up before I actually made the leap into early retirement. I think that those who were ready to retire early and pull the plug on working full time, they're in a unique position to make the best of this situation because they can now reevaluate their risk tolerance and their portfolio as a whole. I think people who already have retired early, this could definitely be a challenging time for them. I would hope that those types of people had already done all of those things as far as taking a look at their portfolios and seeing if their risk tolerance was where it should be. I think that once you're in the wealth preservation stage, then your portfolio should look different than when you're in the wealth building stage of your journey. So hopefully anyone who has recently retired early is prepared for this situation. Actually, one channel that I follow and really enjoy Our Rich Journey, Amon and Christina, they recently retired early in their 30s, and they mentioned in one of their recent videos how they had 2.5 years worth of cash saved up so that if they had to, they can live on cash alone and not ever touch their investments while the markets are down. I think 2.5 years is great. That should be, a good bit of time, and hopefully the markets will recover from this during that time frame. So yeah, people who have recently retired, this may be a challenge for them, but like I have heard before, people in the FIRE movement have said that, somebody's worst case scenario, if they've retired early and they've made that leap, their worst case scenario is the average person's every day. Worst case scenario is they have to go back to work. They find another job and they go back to work. So yeah, I don't see how this market downturn would cause the FIRE movement to collapse. As a matter of fact, when I first got into the FIRE movement a few years ago, I remembered the haters kind of saying, well, the only reason the FIRE movement exists is because we've been on this crazy over a decade-long bull run, and the only reason the FIRE movement works is because all of these people got lucky in the markets, and the only reason that they're able to build wealth so well is that we've just had this freakishly long bull run, and that's why everyone is succeeding, and it's not going to last. Well, people nowadays are arguing that it wasn't the bull run that made the FIRE movement a thing. It was actually the last recession, the Great Recession in 2008, that made this a thing. A lot of people woke up and realized that you don't have to settle for the status quo of being paycheck to paycheck, racking up loads of debt, and living a lifestyle that causes you to just try to keep up with the Joneses constantly. A lot of people decided to buck that trend, get out of debt, and save money and build as much wealth as they could. Hence, the FIRE movement really got started and got some traction during the last recession. So again, I think if anything, that this most recent market downturn and events that we're all going through right now will cause people to really take a look at their own personal finances and decide whether or not they need to change some things. People are really struggling right now with job losses, and if you're in that boat where you're paycheck to paycheck, I really do feel for you. This is going to be a tough situation for a lot of people, but I'm hoping that many will use it as a learning opportunity to maybe improve their situation for the future, for themselves and for their family as well. So, and then lastly, the third group of people like me who are in the wealth building stage in the FIRE movement. Truly, just purely looking at this from a financial perspective, if you're in the wealth building stage and the market has a huge downturn like we're in right now, this is 100% an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to really start taking investing seriously, to invest more if you're able. I am grateful every day that I'm healthy, first of all, and that second of all, I do still have a job to go to, and I've actually been working extra recently and bringing in some overtime, which will only help me invest and save more. I think people have said that millionaires are made during recessions, and I think that there is some truth to that, y'all. If you can take advantage of this opportunity and get into the market while it's low, do some really wise investing, then here is your chance to get your wealth building journey started. People are saying that, this time is different. This market downturn, due to this virus is just a whole different situation. And you'll hear that often. People say this time is different. And I recently listened to a podcast. If I can, when this is over, I'm going to link it down below. It was put on by the mad scientist, and he was interviewing J.L. Collins, and J.L. Collins is the author of The Simple Path to Wealth. And the one thing that I took away from this podcast that I listened to, it was only 30 minutes long. If y'all want to check it out, it's really worth your time. But the one thing that I took away from that podcast was that J.L. Collins points out that every time there's a bear market, it is different. That is the definition of a bear market. If everything in life is just going on as usual, then the markets they'll continue to rise as usual. So the definition of having a bear market downturn is that something has gone awry, something that is different, something we haven't faced before. So that gave me a little bit of comfort to know that really this is just part of the cycle. Yes, the markets are down. There's a lot of fear right now, but I still really think that overall we are going to come out ahead of all of this and win if we can take advantage of the situation. So all of this was what I wanted to touch on in the video I had planned to record today. And I just didn't feel like recording and editing a whole video, so I decided to come on live for a little bit. And thankfully the dogs have been quiet thus far, but I did want to keep this live broadcast short and sweet so that way I can leave it up on my channel and hopefully people will watch it in the replay. So if y'all made it into this live stream that was completely impromptu, then I thank you for being here, and I will post this shortly.